Gati. So this is actually a song by Sanatan Das, and the translation is like this. If Krishna is displeased, Guru can protect you. But if Guru is displeased, even Krishna cannot help you. Guru is mother, father, and protector. In this world, there is no shelter except Shri Guru. So, really, I am most fortunate to have Gurudev in my life. I am, as we can see from Shastra says, I'm really helpless without Guru's mercy, and I can do nothing without him. So, really, I am forever indebted to my Gurudev, and I pray that birth after birth I can again have, that he can again look at me with boundless affection and compassion, and call me his darling daughter, that I may have the opportunity to render service to him and follow his instructions. I do not know Radha and Krishna. They are so far away from me, but I don't have a relationship with them. But I know a little bit about Gurudev, and I have some relationship with Gurudev. And Gurudev would always say, you need to have this mamata. I am his and he is mine. Towards Guru. He is my Gurudev and I am his disciple. And as a little girl, it was very easy to just run up to Gurudev, oh Gurudev, without any inhibition or Aishwarya mood. Like in the early days, his door was always open unless he was resting. So you could always just come in and speak to him. Even during lunchtime, his door would be open. You could see him eating prasad, and he would actually come out and do the prasad prayers with everyone first, and then go sit down. So it was very close and intimate, and I feel so fortunate to have that as my beginning relationship with Gurudev. I remember one time, Govinda Priya from Badger, she was really shy. She wanted to ask Gurudev for Diksha. And she was like, no, I can't, I'm too shy. But come on, I'll ask for you. I was in Badger, and I dragged her up to Gurudev as he was walking out of the class one time. I'm like, Gurudev, Govinda Priya wants Diksha. So without any inhibitions, I would just go up to Gurudev and speak to him. And so I felt, as a young girl, I had this, he is mine and I am his. But as I got older and I started reading more, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should have a little bit more awe and reverence. But actually, Madhurya mood is that you can have this intimate relationship without the Aishwarya mood, just like in Vraj, how the gopis can chastise Krishna, how Mother Yashoda's love for Krishna is that she chastises him, and how he actually enjoys it more than the awe and reverence that he gets in Dwarka. So, also Gurudev would say, when you have this relationship, it's actually all about relationship when you go to Goloka Vrindavan and in Vraj. And actually without this relationship, then you cannot even get close to Srimati Radhika or close to Krishna. And that it's your connection with Gurudev that will make this happen. And so, just like the Guru Parampara is that Gurudev would offer you to his Gurudev, and he will offer you to his Gurudev, and so on until it goes all the way up to Lalita Saki, and then she will write your name in the book and whisper in Srimati Radhika's ear, yes, this one. And that is only possible through your relationship. And so I am so fortunate to have such a magnanimous, sweet Gurudev who will take care of me. And all I have to do is just completely surrender with full faith, with my whole heart and mind and body. And I pray that I can really start to surrender and be a real follower and disciple of my Gurudev. Jai Shri Gurudev. Vanchakalpadurvasya Vipassanavevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Okay, so Chandrasekhar Prabhu is sick, but he sent an offering on his Madhukar Prabhu's to
Yeah, last time Chandrasekhar wasn't able to make a glorification, and this time he's like, I have to this time, but he's really sick this morning, so. Alright. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Guru is transcendental. Nikunjayo no ratikeli se dayaya libir yuktirapekshaniya tatrati daksharati balavasya vande guru shri charanaravindam. Shri Guru exists in a transcendental plane beyond the fivefold sensory dimensions of prapancha, the five elements of this material world. Thus, it is impossible for a conditioned soul to appropriately glorify him. The Jivadharma says, words return defeated when trying to approach the transcendental Brahman. Indeed, to have darshan of Shri Guru is not possible with these jelly-filled eyes. His existence is transcendental. So how is it that darshan of Shri Guru is attained? Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo namedhaya na bahuna shutena yame vaisha vrinudetena labhyas tashaisha atma virvinute tanuksam. By his own sweet will. Just as the infinite can reveal himself to the finite, so the residents of the transcendental plane have the power to reveal themselves to the fallen souls of the plane of exploitation. But how is that? We must give up our exploitative mentality. Atha Shri Krishna namadi na bhaver graham indriyai sevam mukhe hijivado swayam eva spuratyata. We must become saturated with service. Krishna consciousness is a sublime process. Just as dry ice turns directly into gas from solid, this is called sublimation. So, through the power of service, the gross material senses are imbued with the very nature of the soul, service. Tadatma. We must become receptive to this service, to make our will one with his. Just as iron and fire takes on the qualities of heat and light, so we must be saturated with service. Guru Deva Tatma. Make our will one with his. Koromore Atma Satta. Then to have real darshan of Shri Guru is Yasya Deve Para Bhaktir Yatha Deve Tatha Guru Tasyaite Katita Hyarta Prakashante Mahatmana. But this is not so easy for a selfish, conditioned soul, speaking for myself. The Acharya teaches by his example. But there can be, before there can be service, there must be surrender. Tadviri pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshantite jnanam jnaninas tattva darshina. Srila Gurudev has shown us that in his own life, when Param Gurudev said that he wanted to give him the red cloth of sannyas, paraphrasing, he said, keep me in with the red cloth, naked, I am yours. Hearing of his surrender and service to his Gurudev is a chance for us to glean a sense of how to truly approach Shri Guru. What a sweet, intimate relationship Srila Gurudev has with Param Gurudev. Srila Gurudev was always close with him and discussing and inquiring about Sumatra, the path of bhajan, pariprashna. a service, died to live. Just as Srila Param Gurudev before him risked his life in the service of Guru when the Sankirtan party was attacked in Navadvip by the Jati Goshais, and so on, so too Gurudev put his life and health at risk in the service of his beloved godbrother, Ananga Mohan Brahmachari. What is more pleasing than service to those who are near and dear to the spiritual master? Bhaktai Bhakta Janapriya. Srila Gurudev's affection transcended the relative material plane. I'm sure everyone here who has heard who has had some interaction with Srila Gurudev has experienced something similar. How, with the combined sweet affection of a mother and warm encouragement of a father, he inspires any attempt to surrender, to inquire, or to serve him. I'll never forget those few moments I made a vaguely sincere attempt to inquire from Srila Gurudev on the topics that I had read in Jivadasa places, and how he wholeheartedly and wholesale was able to address my doubts at the very root and inject an inspiration that has carried me since. But how is it that a conditioned soul could experience something of such a transcendental personality? Surely my lack of surrender disqualifies me from any real darshan. Jive shakshat nahitate guru chaita rupe. The conditioned jiva cannot perceive the transcendental form of Chaita Guru, so he manifests before him in a tangible form. Granted, a conditioned soul may only have some degree of external darshan, hearing his Vani only in fragments, and yet devoid of the divya gyan that Srila Gurudev has come to establish in the heart. So I didn't fully understand. Yet he is able to reach us and encourage us in surrender and service. This is his magic. Still, again, speaking for myself, utmost caution is required. I do not know the greatness of the esoteric sweetness of Raj that Srila Gurudev has come to instill in us. I can only parrot confidential reasons for Mahaprabhu's advent. It's very tempting to want to relish these deep and confidential topics, and indeed necessary for those who are qualified. And while we have been firmly instilled with with the goal, we mustn't forget not to jump to the top of the tree. Without having received the Vani Darshan of Gurudev manifesting the absolute truth in the heart, without that parabhakti, the proliferation of so many misconceptions are possible. Especially we see that the conceptions regarding Guru Tattva and especially are prone to be misunderstood by the conditioned. Fortunately, Srila Gurudev has given the medicine. What ends now? Gurudev has given the medicine. Trinarapi sunichena, tororapi suhishnana manadena, kirtaniya sadahari, and tateno kampam susumikshamano, punjana evatma kritam vakam, hridvag vapur vir vidadam namaste, jivetayo mukti pade sadai vak. Then, by His grace and encouragement, one may gradually develop the tender vine of devotion. And as Shraddha thickens, as our practice becomes strong, and as our anarthas, including Swarup Brahm and Sadhyasadan Brahm, become eradicated, we will gradually and truly have darshan of Srila Gurudev and serve him in the deepest and most meaningful way. There is no doubt about this, because neha vikrama nashosti pratavayo navidyate solpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Just don't make Vaishnava parad. And please bless me that I may progress in this way. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna. Oma Jnanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvev Namah. Guruvev Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Taralaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktai Tad Bhaktai Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. I'd really like to, similar to Chandrasekhar, present nice Shastric quotes glorifying the spiritual master, but I'm not prepared for this. So with your permission, I would just like to speak on the impact that Gurudev had and how he kind of captured my heart. And maybe that can also inspire some of you who have also had this experience. I'm not a disciple of Srila Gurudev. Actually, he left our physical association before I even met the devotees. But I've connected with Gurudev through all of you. Many of you in a more personal way. And so I'm very grateful for that, all of your association. My first interaction with Srila Gurudev was somehow, by some circumstance, I picked up one book, I believe The Hidden Path of Devotion. And in that he was talking about this tadatmya, this how these particular individuals, great devotees, the manjris, they have a very unique position where, you know, they're serving Radha and Krishna in a very special way. And then same like iron in fire, or some other analogies can be given, but they're able to experience this, you know, unique loving exchange of Radha and Krishna through their service. And this was the first time I'd ever come in touch with these kind of subject matters, and actually hadn't met many disciples of Gurudev at this time. And actually the ones that I had met had a little bit traumatized me. Forgive me. It's like, everything they told me is true. No. But then I was very lucky, like after I read this, and somehow it really triggered something inside of me. And then I came in, it was here in Mayapur, and then some years back. And then I found myself in the association of disciples of Srila Gurudev. Actually, it was the appearance and disappearance, I forget, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Gadadhar Pandit. And I actually met Srila Jidandi Maharaj on this day. I went to his house and we spoke the same things that I read in the book came up in our conversations, and there was this kind of synchronicity. And then I started associating with so many of the nice disciples of Srila Gurudev here in Mayapur, and it just kind of, you know, we say this verse, Amagyana Timidandasya, you know, the torchlight of transcendental knowledge, like opening our eyes. And I really feel like Srila Gurudev, he kind of, I don't know if it makes sense, like he gave me myself. It means like before I'd kind of started touching these subject matters, okay, I understand, you know, Radha and Krishna and Krishna Das, we are serving, these things you can appreciate. But I was still kind of like a clueless, you know, Kali Yuga reject, kind of wandering around and not really knowing who I am. Obviously, there's still details to be revealed about who I am, but I really feel like Gurudev gave me myself in the sense like I have absolute clarity about what I want in my life and where I want to go and what I want to be. Okay, again, more clarity need to come through bhajan. But he gave me the innermost desire of my heart, the thing that I'm existing for, the thing that I'm hankering for and looking for, came from Srila Gurudev. And then also, you know, coming into the association of so many nice devotees, when I then went back into, you know, the association that I'm in and also studying the books of Srila Prabhupada, all of a sudden there was so much clarity, almost like by coming into touch with the teachings of Gurudev and his disciples and this association, then when I go back to, you know, my roots in Krishna consciousness, so much opened up there was new layers which I'm still discovering, but things were just revealed that I never saw before. It really gave this, opened my eyes. And I'm so grateful for that. And many times, many times, even though of course I never met Srila Gurudev, many times I feel his presence in my life, many times, especially on occasions like this and leading up to these occasions. I really feel like somehow or other he's there in my life. And he said, anytime you want, you can come here and read with me. We'll read together. And then I woke up. Yeah, this was the one and only time. So I'm very grateful, we can see clearly the impact that he had on the world. They may or may not be, but my observation is because of his impact, the inspiration to try to touch these subject matters has come in all sanghas. And of course, like he was very fearless in his presentation of these philosophical truths and conclusions, more bold than probably anyone has and ever will be. But to me, it's very clear that, even though we may say externally and in different sanghas, we may say like, oh, these subject matters are very high and, we should be qualified in this and that. But there are many people taking advantage of what Mahaprabhu has come to give, what Rupa Goswami, what the Acharyas are actually giving, this very unique opportunity that's been offered to us. And they may not externally profess that it's because of Gurudev, but my observation is that it is, and that his impact is no words we can say, nothing we can do, no activities we can perform to thank him or reciprocate or honor this thing that's been given to us. And that's the mercy of Mahaprabhu, which we find, personified in our Srila Gurudev. Yeah, so I'm very, very grateful to him, of course, and to all of you, and I just ask to be able to somehow remain in this wonderful thing, whatever it is. And yeah, try to take advantage of it. So, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Vancha
Before the next speaker, again, I would just like to ask, are there any ladies that would like to speak? Please don't be shy. This is a very wonderful day.
He wants to know who wants to speak.
No. Would you like to speak, please?
Not now, but before the end.
Okay.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu vayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. First of all, I offer my Dandavat pranams again and again and again and again onto the lotus feet of my divine Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and our whole Guru Varga. I offer my obeisances to all the assembled devotees here, most prominently and first to all of my seniors, all the sannyasigan. Okay, so I feel a little scattered and nervous, but I'm going to try to do my best here. I really wanted to get out of speaking today, but Gurudev really liked us to push ourselves and get purified by the process of trying to somehow glorify Srila Gurudev. So I'll attempt. Most of the time, I was lucky enough to have met Gurudev when I was a teenager, so I have a good amount of stories But there's always this debate, like if you're just telling stories, and it's true, it brings up lots of sentimental feelings. But, Srila Gurudev really wanted us to also understand the tattva. So I'm going to do my best here, but it feels scattered. There are some points that I want to make, and I want to connect them, because I think that, for me at least, it can't be one or the other, because my access to the tattva is through Srila Gurudev, and that's because he somehow appeared magically in my life, and I got to meet him as a teenager and come to him when I was worried and scared and not sure what to do, and through that relationship I have any desire to be, understanding our philosophy. So on Wednesday, we went to Srila Trivikram Maharaj's Samadhi Mandir, and he's such a dear, most bosom Shiksha Guru and friend to our Srila Gurudev. And I somehow, as I was thinking through what I wanted to say, I thought to this class, why we do not like to love Krishna. And Srila Trivikram Maharaj says, we want to do what pleases us most. The liking for that activity is called ruchi. Why we do not like to love Krishna? Why do we not like to serve him? This is the point of our discussion today. We like that which gives us pleasure through our senses. But Krishna is such that he cannot be known by our senses. He is transcendental, and therefore he transcends our senses. Our senses cannot know him, nor can they reach him. Through our senses we cannot taste if he is sweet or not. He goes on in this way, but he ends up with any person, this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, any person who seriously desires to achieve actual happiness must seek out a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of a spiritual master is that he must have realized the conclusion of Shastra by deliberation and argument, and thus be able to convince others of these conclusions. Such great personalities who have taken complete shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, are to be understood as bona fide spiritual masters. So he says, if we want to know the best subject, Krishna, we should surrender to a person with complete knowledge of him, who is appointed to teach that subject. That person is Gurudev. So we're so lucky. For me, just my experience, I grew up young and very excited about, like, say, Janmashtami or different festivals, but mostly because we would get lots of sweets and we'd have to, run around, and it felt very exciting. At the moment that I met Srila Gurudev, I was 14 years old, and my parents had dragged us to Vrindavan. Actually, no, they had dragged us to Diamant. It was really a little bit belligerent and independent, and I really had no idea why we had been brought to a place that did not look like Vrindavan at all. I was quite disappointed. It's like, this is not like Krishna book. And being pretty independent, and also my family life up to then had been a little bit challenging. So my parents were pursuing their spiritual life versus being our parents too much. So I was feeling a little angry, not really sure about this whole Krishna conscious thing. I wasn't as inspired about Janmashtami and everything else. And then also quickly, please, I hope this offends nobody, but I quickly learned that these beautiful Vaishnavas that we saw there, personalities were not perfect either. Because I would learn through different interactions that despite them looking so angelic and beautiful, they had some work to do as well. So I started becoming more and more disillusioned. What is this? And then I remember very clearly having this thought, I heard that, when we go back to Godhead, we don't go with our family. And for so, I was attached to my family. So I was like, what? We don't get to go with our family? I became really disappointed about this whole thing, Anyway, at that moment, this was all actually happening when we were in the Mott. When we first got to the Mott, I spent 2 weeks. I saw Gurudev a little bit, but I was really a teenager. I was I'm determined to be unhappy. I can't stand it here. I don't know why I was brought here. This is really terrible. So I just tried to stay in my room. But Gurudev was just at that time in Keshavji Gaudiya Math, he stayed on the middle floor. So we actually we lived in the Math for a while. We lived in the Math and we were in a room like above the floor where his room ended up being. We were above him. Anyhow, and every day he would come out and he would sit outside of his room at that time and he would do a lot of editing. So lots of times in those days, there wasn't anybody around. So he would just sit there, the brahmacharis, everybody would be running through the mat doing their own thing. And Gurudev would be sitting there taking in the sun outside of his room and doing editing. Sometimes he would have something under his arm like this and sit there. And I felt intrigued to watch him. So I'd just sit a little distance and watch Srila Gurudev. Anyhow, slowly, I became coming closer and closer. And this was leading up right before Kartik. So anyhow, I can't remember quite how it happened, but it was in 94. Yeah. Yeah, my sister, I'm the eldest of 3 sisters, but our youngest sister, she got to go and meet Gurudev in 91. She was just a little baby, so she sat on Gurudev's lap. He fed her sweets, and our family was quite lucky that we got to be there. In those early days, there was actually any time. I made up the excuse that it was in the early days, that because we got to see him more, but I saw that if people wanted to go and see Gurudev, Gurudev always gave space for people to come see him. So anyhow, we were lucky in that way. I felt lucky that we got to see him in those early days. There's less people to fight for Gurudev's door. Anyhow, what am I trying to say? Srila Gurudev is... Yeah, I think I just kind of wandered there. But somehow Gurudev stole my heart, and he did so many wonderful things. When he gave me initiation, I was, of course, very wonderful, but I had this one feeling like Srila Gurudev, he used to give out these beads, and they were really small beads, right? And I had these beads that I'd had since I was 11 or 12, and they were nice. They're the ones I have now, but they're nice and big. And I was really attached to my beads, and Gurudev gave me initiation. So I was it was beautiful, right? But I was also 14. So he gave me he gave me these little teeny beads that he chanted on, and I remember my first feeling was disappointment. I was oh, okay. And so I was really trying to love these beads, but I was oh, I really want my other beads. Anyhow, a week later, week and a half later or something like that, my younger sister Jaishri, she took initiation. At that time, I don't remember all of the details, but somehow it happened that they had run out of small beads. 1 minute. Okay, this is not at all where I wanted to go, but okay, they had run out of small beads, and so then Gurudev's we don't have any beads, so go get anything, right? And my mother's oh, we have some in the room. So she ran upstairs, and the ones that we had in the room were my old beads, right? And I was really and agitated. I'm what? Anyway, so she brought them and she gave them to Gurudev. I'm just sitting there trying not to be too sullen. Anyhow, and Gurudev, he chanted on them, and then he looked at them, and he looked at Jaishri, and she's still small, but she was quite small then. And he says, "These are too big." And then he looked right at me. There was other people in the room. He looked right at me and he says, "Change," like this. And he gave me my beads back and took the beads that he had given me a week before. So Gurudev was very merciful. Where I wanted to go, and it sounds like I can't really go there, but okay. Krishna Bhakte, Krishna Guna, Sakali Sanchare, Madhyalila 2275. All the transcendental qualities of Krishna are transmitted to his devotee. We are so fortunate because we were able to meet and be with Srila Gurudev in person, and even people who didn't get to see him in person, getting to hear and see him through his videos and his katha or through his devotees. I got to have a real experience that is Krishna's qualities, really, because I've never experienced. And now when I hear and learn about other great Vaishnavas, I see those same qualities, and I think, oh, this is the same thing, and this is our Guru Parampara, so how incredibly lucky we are. And I pray that to Srila Gurudev, especially on this day, because he is extra merciful, that somehow I can really not just have sentimental feelings because I got to be with him as a teenager and he was so sweet and fatherly, but that I can really, really have his words come into my ear and into my heart, and that they become one with my heart. Please, Srila Gurudev. Jai.
Again, please forgive me for being the timekeeper. Sorry. Next up is Krishna Prabhu.
Om Jnanatimidandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Iti Namane. Mukam Shri Krishna Lila Kantane Sadaksham Adhaya Madhaya Ganaishtra Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Shirashanamani. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Bhangam Nangayate Girim Yat Kripatam Maham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Yat Kripatam Maham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasali Gauda Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today I'm offering my heartfelt Dandavat Pranams into the lotus feet of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj on this his most auspicious Avirbhav Titi, appearance Titi, and to my whole Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, and to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, headed by Sannyas Gan, Dandavat Pranams. So, I also have the tendency to be a backwards pushing man, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj says. But by this process of glorifying the Vaishnavas and hearing about their qualities, that we actually are practicing serving them. And by serving the Vaishnavas, that the hridrog, the desires in the heart, the lust in the heart, can be cleansed. So, actually hearing and describing the qualities of the Vaishnavas is a limb of bhakti. It says that glorifying the lotus feet of Bhagavan is a limb of bhakti, and that at those lotus feet you'll always find the Vaishnavas are there. So by glorifying them, this is also directly an anga of bhakti. So in this invocation verse, Shri Krishna Lila Kantane Sudaksham is saying that Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, you are most expert in describing Krishna Lila. So Srila Gurudev would travel around the world, and wherever he would go, he would speak these wonderful pastimes of Shri Krishna, and in many places he would say like this. He would say, "Come with me to Vrindavan." And then he would begin to share what was in his heart, which was Vrindavan Dham. And through the ears, one could enter into a realm of Vrindavan. And so also, not just that, he's also where everyone, he invited persons, come with me to Vrindavan, also for the parikrama, and all over the world, he said like this. And so by some unknown good fortune, I also had that opportunity. I was very young, and we did travel around, and even though I was not so eligible to see anything, hear so well, those impressions, those, as it says, the transcendental bank account is something that's permanent. So he is giving unlimited mercy indiscriminately. Wherever he went, he offered like this. One title, he is known as Bhakta Bandhav, the friend of all. And so we can see that he had this mood and a very pronounced Vashishta, specialty of this mood. And everyone felt really harmonized in his association, and he was able to reconcile so many difficulties for the community. And also, he has spoke so extensively on so many topics. He has given so many translations and publications. And so his contribution to the topics of transcendental topics is immeasurable. It's like an ocean. And for those persons that turn their attention, then this is there. And wherever our heart's query is, then very easily, very quickly, if we have sincerity, then clearly that answer will be revealed if we actually look towards him and are trying to hear his shiksha. So the Vaishnavas are transcendental personalities. It says that they are not limited by time and space and form, so this can be very difficult to understand sometimes. There's one place Bhakti-Bhagwan Keshav Goswami Maharaj says, like, there's a window and one person walks by the window, but we can understand that that person was walking before the window and after the window. And so even though we can see them briefly, we can understand that that transcendental personality is existing before and after this form. So the limitation is in our own endeavor and our own sincerity of how much we can connect, even just now, and these the opportunity is there. I was hearing one commentary. Shri Gurudev is speaking in Bhakti Rasayan. He is giving this, the word was Smara Rujas. He says that to perform real bhajan, intense desire to serve Lord Krishna, it really must be there. Intense desire. So he gave the example of one Kala Krishna Das, brahmachari, who was a very nice Brahmin boy from a nice family, and the devotees sent them with Mahaprabhu to travel to South India. And somehow, even though he was directly in Bhagavan's association, he became attracted to material energy, to Maya, some gypsies. They lured him in. So Srila Gurudev said, how can this happen? It's because this attachment, this attraction to Maya is something that is why we are here in the first place. We have this deep attraction to Maya. So to become free from this is very difficult. He says that what is required is our own endeavor is required, but this is not by our own endeavor, we cannot. That actually what is required is the mercy of the Vaishnavas. So both are required. The mercy of the Vaishnavas in our own endeavor, and by this process that we can actually overcome this attraction to Maya and develop Vairagya. Viravairagya is not just detachment, but also means attraction to that transcendental reality. So by this mercy of the Vaishnavas, we can actually develop some taste and attraction towards the transcendental reality. So today I'm very much praying that even though I am completely full of the desire, the attraction towards the material energy, that by His mercy He can give me some strength to have the endeavor, and He can also give me some purification so that I can actually develop some taste. And so I'm praying very much for His mercy today, and that He shares His mercy on all these assembled devotees and gives us some blessings so that we can progress in our endeavors. Vanchakalpatrubhyascha.
Sannyasis last. Sannyasis last.
Namam Vishnu Padaya Radhikajaya Prajatmani Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Iti Namine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanivyo Vaishnavebho Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I offer my respectful obeisances millions and millions of times to my Gurudeva, Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. I offer my respectful obeisances to the Vaishnavas assembly, starting with sannyasis, God brothers, Srila Prabhupada disciples, Matajis, everyone assembled. Please forgive me, my English is not my mother tongue, so please excuse me. I came here almost by accident. I didn't know about this Sangha. I saw some familiar faces from many years ago. So I have nothing prepared, so I'll try to speak as Gurudev permits me to speak through my heart. I first met Gurudev in 1999 in Rupa Sanatan in Sevakunja. They were doing Parikram with Trivikram Maharaj and others from the Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti, and I was thinking that what is the real meaning for a disciple or for somebody who meets such a exalted personality? What is the meaning of appearance? Is the appearance when he's born by his physical appearance, or is something else? And I was thinking that the appearance day of Srila Gurudev is when we first met him, is when we first are in touch with him. That's the appearance day of Srila Gurudev. So I thought that that moment when we are in touch with him is the moment of his appearance day. Once they ask Srila Gurudev, is like, when is the sambandha, when is the relationship between guru and disciple starts? And he said, well, the first relationship starts. No, they say to him, it's when he takes Harinam, it's when he takes Diksha. And he said, no. You know how Gurudev was very, no. And he said, no, it really starts when he looks at you. When he looks at you, when he put his eyes on you, that's where the moment that the relationship between guru and disciple starts. And I think we all had that experience, right? I think we have those moments where Gurudeva has looked at us and then we felt that connection. And to me, that's the appearance day of Gurudev, when he actually look at you with such a merciful glance, with such love and affection. I'm not qualified to talk about my Gurudev or any Vaishnava at all, because for being able to do that, you need to have a sambandha, a real relationship with your Gurudev. So I'm not gonna talk much more. I'm just gonna say that I'm very, very inspired by all of you. I'm very inspired to have the opportunity to be in Gurudev's Sangha, to meet such wonderful devotees. Somehow or other, still trying to remember Gurudev and try to do as much as my adhikar allows me to do. So please forgive any misgivings, any how do you say in English? Sorry, my English is not very good. So forgive my inability and no qualification to glorified Srila Gurudev. Vanchakalpatarunascha kripa sindhuvascha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namaha.
Omagyantimiranarshat Janansalakaya Chakshurinitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave. So I offer my obeisances to my Gurudevs and Param Gurudevs and all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis present here, all the sannyasis. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimad Gaura Govinda Swami Niti Nami. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Niti Nami. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimad Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Niti Nami. So these days our memory is the phone and I forgot my phone. So anyway, I got so much inspiration about seeing all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis here. It's just like the crème à la crème, our Guru Parampara, So grateful that I came to this Parampara, Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. And the cream of all the creams, is there. And when I will just start from the beginning, when I wanted to see what is in Krishna consciousness, then I wrote the temple. I was in some other country. I wrote the temple that I was in 9. And they wrote me back that I could come and see it because I didn't know. I was born in a Hindu family. My father was always vegetarian and Vaishnava, but he never taught us. But when I found Srila Prabhupada's book, then I thought, oh, he's the spiritual master. And then I prayed to him, and then finally came in the Netherlands in the temple. But no, before that, when I heard that from my father that Srila Prabhupada left the planet, then I was crying. I was thinking, my God, what now? Then I got some inspiration in my heart that some voice telling me, no, he has left someone. But then when I came to ISKCON, then I had also some guru there, but then he left in 86. And then I came to my Srila Gurudev, Srila Gaura Govinda Swami, but then I realized actually Srila Prabhupada had not left only one, but so many wonderful, and the cream a la cream of his disciples or his friends. So when my Guru there, I came to Srila Gaura Govinda Swami, and he was always telling that 1996, the Acharya will arise. 1996, the Acharya. Then I was thinking, what is my Guru there telling? He is Acharya for, he's such a great devotee, Yeah, because we were so impressed, because in ISKCON we didn't see, because Prabhupada had just left in 1977. And I was thinking, but my Gurudev is such a wonderful Vaishnava, such a pure devotee, because if you go into the pastimes of my Gurudev, then you will see, I will not go so far, but you will see that how much pure devotee he was, a Rasika Vaishnava. And then I was thinking, why? But when he left in 1996, already from the beginning, because many of my God brothers were coming in Singapore, and they were meeting Srila Gurudev's disciples and bringing the books. So I was reading the books of Srila Gurudev, and then I asked my Gurudev, can I read it? He said, yes, but you cannot go there. Because he was there, And of course, because ISKCON was hammering on his head that, your disciples and you, because they're so much in box, they are not, so only society conscious, but not Vaishnava consciousness. So anyway, so then I realized that, so he told me not to go there. But anyway, I was reading and I was so attracted. The Venugit and so many on this Beyond Vaikuntha, all these books I was reading. I was so attracted to it. Then when my Gurudev left, then I found, Raghava Pandit, my godbrother, I was crying. And then he said, oh, don't worry, there's also somebody like that, okay. And then he said, he was in Vrindavan, he said, you come and we'll meet him. So I took when my Gurudev left, after 2-3 days, I took the airplane from Bhubaneswar to Delhi, 12 at night. I arrived on the airport, and I took a bus. I didn't know how to go. I took the bus to Mathura. And there the whole night I was just, mosquitoes were biting me, and I was just waiting when some rickshaw will come, and then I will, go to Srila Gurudev. But I didn't know that, because he said come to Vrindavan, so I thought Gurudev was in Vrindavan, so I went to Vrindavan, but then later I heard he was in Mathura. Anyway, when I met Gurudev, then many of my godbrothers were there. And Gurudev was sitting and speaking, but when I came there and I started to cry. Gurudev, I said, Maharaj, what will happen? My Gurudev has left, but there's so many anarthas who will, I don't know how to go further. Then he said, don't worry. And he gave all attention to me. There was so much, my heart, so personal he was with everybody. It really grabbed my heart that, oh, he's giving me so time. I'm so insignificant. He's giving me so much time. Anyway, then he told me, don't worry. Whenever you come back, whenever you have time, come to me and I will really help. So in my life, when I was 3 years with Srila Govind Swami, I was 14 years with Srila Gurudev, and I was 7 years with Srila Bhakti. But anyway, the time when I was with Gurudev, my whole life completely changed. He went to Bhubaneswar. I was really in a horrible condition. He came to Bhubaneswar and he took me out of, you can say, of the gutter, of the hell where I was. And he took me, and and whatever I heard from him, it really grabbed my heart, because my Gurudev was really in ISKCON, really, because in ISKCON, all of you, that Prabhupada had not appointed a guru, but people had made themselves guru, and my Gurudev was really heavy because many people were leaving from ISKCON, and my Gurudev, he wanted to protect those disciples. And when there was Prabhupada's centennial, then they asked my Gurudev, what do you want? Because everyone was making big plans. We will do this, we will do big occasions, big festivals. Then my Gurudev wrote on a letter, so he said, we have to become Vaishnavas, we have to become Vaishnavas, and those people who leaving, we have to make them Vaishnavas. But anyway, they took the letter and put it in the garbage, nobody, because that Gurudev was really heavy about Guru Tattva. So when I heard Gurudev, and when, the same, that Guru is the backbone of bhakti. Without Guru, Nishtha, you cannot, then I thought, oh, it's so much similarity, because many ISKCON devotees were saying, oh, don't go there, don't go, but anyway. So much similar, because they have, and that's why my Gurudev was connected with Srila Gurudev, because that's why he could say that, oh, Acharya will arise, and Acharya arose, You can see how good devotees they are, no enviousness, they have, no irsha, nothing, So, yes, Gurudev, whenever, I was always behind, and many times Gurudev, because I will tell you my little bit relationship with Guru, whenever I was sitting always behind and listening to Gurudev, but one day he said, Bitya, he would call me Bitya, means daughter, he said, you should come and sit in front. then I can see you. Because, like one devotee said, because they can implant. I mean, give the mercy to speech, to the eyes, to the personality. With so many ways they can give the mercy to. So he told me to sit there. And many times I was really amazed because I never heard in ISKCON that there are two kinds of merging into Brahman Jyoti. The one is that you merge into Brahman Jyoti, but you can fall down. But the other merge is merging into the person of Krishna. But from there, you can never fall down. And there, your identity, you will lose your identity. When you merge into Krishna's body. That I was so amazed. I said, Gurudev, I never heard that. I'm so afraid of that, merging into Krishna's body, and then because you lose everything. There are many times, and about Guru Tattva and so many other things, and especially what I will not take so much time because so many Mahajans, the cream a la cream, are sitting there waiting. But the one who really touched my heart, that what is the goal of our worship? Our goal of worship is not only Krishna, but Radha and Krishna, and bending towards Radha. So that was really fixing my goal, because why? Because like when you worship Krishna alone, that is we are the Tasta Jivas. We don't have the right, we don't have the adhikar to worship Krishna independently. Just like Lalita, Vishakha, and Radha, and all the gopis, we don't have that because we are the Tasta Jiva. They can serve Radha and Krishna independently, but we don't have. So we are always just like we are here under the guidance of our great spiritual masters of Gaudiya Vaishnava line. Then, Oh, it's time? Okay, I finish it, yeah? And but then they have, so we are always under the guidance, and sorry? Oh, you? Anyway, you can speak further about this. Haribol! Thank you. Jai Srila Gurudev ki Jai! Jai, all the Vaishnavas ki Jai.
Are there any other devotees that would like to speak? Then I'm going to speak, and then we'll have Raghav Maharaj will speak for the sentences. Want to hit that gong now? Namo Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namane Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksha Madhurya Madhuri Ganeshi Uptam Varun Bharanyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tam Shirashanamami. Offer my Dandavat pranams to my Diksha Guru Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, my Shiksha Guru Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, and I offer my Dandavat pranams to Sannyasigan and my senior God brothers and God sisters, the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. I feel very fortunate to be here in Mayapur on this auspicious day. I'll make this short, hopefully sweet, some of it. I was thinking over the last couple of days what I might talk about, and overwhelmingly I was thinking of when I first met Srila Gurudev. I was a brahmachari in ISKCON at the time and living in the temple in London, and a devotee in London asked me to get the Sri Vishnu Sahasranam for him, which was in Hindi. He couldn't get it anywhere else, he said, but the Keshavji Gaudiya Mat, so I should go there. And so when I went to India, I went to Keshuvji Gaudiya Math, and I'd already previously gotten in some trouble for my association with Srila Sridhar Maharaj. So I was a little nervous about going to the Gaudiya Math. And I remember sitting in the temple room, and I was meditating on Thakurji, the beautiful Radha Vinod Bihari, and particularly Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who of course was given by Srila Prabhupada. And I figured at least there's some connection there with Srila Prabhupada, I'm safe. I'd met this older devotee, Brahmachari, very grumpy, didn't really want to talk to me, and asked him for the book, and he went off to get the book, and I was waiting there for a long time, and as time went on, I started to sweat, because I had a feeling that something was going to change in my life. And when I looked up, there was another devotee, and he had the book, and he waved the book at me. He said, "Oh, you want this book?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he turned around and walked away. And so I followed him, and I remember the last thing that I saw of him as he went into his room was his foot. And I always had this image in my mind of the foot and the ankle and the bottom of the dress. And I followed him into his room, and I realized it was a sannyasi. So I did my dandavats, and he introduced himself. He said, "Oh, my name is Narayan Maharaj, who are you?" And I was like, "You're Narayan Maharaj?" I'd heard all of these beautiful bhajan tapes that the devotees would play in the ashram, and I was so attracted. When I first became a devotee, I was a big fan of Achyutananda and how he would sing bhajans, and so I was attuned to listening for more authentic Gaudiya bhajans, and Srila Gurudev just like was next level. And, so I was very attracted. And when he said his name, I couldn't believe I was in his presence. And to be honest, I don't really remember a lot of the interaction except him looking at me and asking me different things. And it was all a bit of a blur because I felt so overawed in his presence. And actually I hadn't felt a presence like that since I'd been with Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And, but this image of his foot stuck in my mind. And at that time, I was the personal servant of a person that was, it's really difficult to say, was formerly my guru, because you're either a guru or you're not. And so at that time, he was in the position of guru, and he was taking shiksha from Srila Gurudev at that time, and along with one of his very close friends, who was also taking shiksha from the Gurudev. And, at that early on, this was in 1990, and early on, they would whatever they heard from Gurudev, they would come back and they would share what he was talking about with some of the devotees, and it was a really wonderful time. And then later, as things went on, as Didi was saying, that things became very hostile in ISKCON. It seemed to be like there was a fire every single day, and Gurudev's name was always mentioned. And so I remember this feeling of, I felt like I was burning inside, wanting the association of Srila Gurudev, and the fire was raging outside because I spent most of my day, especially in Vrindavan, arguing with other devotees and defending Srila Gurudev, even to the point that my quote-unquote guru at the time turned against Srila Gurudev and started preaching against him. And this other devotee that he was his close friend that I'd known since I was 16, he then started preaching against Srila Gurudev and actually lied to me to my face, and basically was accusing Srila Gurudev of some very low-class activity, which was proven wrong. And I was told to be a card-carrying member of the communist state and keep my mouth shut, otherwise bad things could happen. That's when I knew I was done. And I later on in '96, you remember at Sridham Thakur's apartment, and Srila Gurudev was there. I hadn't seen him since the Vishwarup Mahotsav, famous Vishwarup Mahotsav in '94, where Srila Gurudev glorified Srila Prabhupada, and they still chose to misunderstand what he said and thought that he was minimizing Prabhupada. He said, actually, your Swami Maharaj, he went down how he was representative of our Guru Varga, headed by Rupa Goswami in that line. And he said, but he is the servant of Mahavishnu for those that are ignorant. And so they switched Gurudev's words and said, oh, just see, he's saying that Prabhupada is a servant of Mahavishnu. So they chose to misunderstand, misguide, and misrepresent Srila Gurudev. And so in '96, when I saw Srila Gurudev, he saw me and he just started laughing. He said, "Where have you been?" And I told him what had happened. And I told him, about, and I said, and I felt this fire. And I do martial arts, so Srila Gurudev was always like, to fight also. So, and he said, so this fire inside that you feel and the fire that you've been engaged in fighting, he said, this is initiation. So I felt very fortunate that he had said like that. But I also thought it was very interesting, and he said, but now, no more fighting. Of course, that didn't end, but, he said no more fighting. And just like, sometimes, in martial arts, that sometimes a fighter is judged by the way he performs in a competition. But actually, the teacher knows that the real quality of the fighter is in his everyday discipline and practice. I'm over time.
2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Really? Oh, okay.
Your timer was on.
Whoa, okay. All right. So, I felt that now that I was under the shelter of Srila Gurudev, that, he had a chance to really examine me. And I remember the day of my formal initiation was sometime later in Mathura. And Gurudev asked me, do you have Tulsi beads? And I pulled out these massive Tulsi beads that I had in ISKCON. It was kind of the style at the time. And I said, well, these are my initiation beads. And he said, oh, no harm. Tulsi is always pure, which I thought, you can take that either way. And so anyway, I went and I got some different beads. And I went for initiation. And Gurudev, as I was walking in, Gurudev stopped me and he said, he said, he mentioned my former guru by name. He said, you should never say anything against him, never criticize him. He said, you should be grateful because he has given you so much in Krishna consciousness. And at the time, I thought about how much, that meant how much he'd given me and I should be grateful because of everything in the past. But what I found over the years was that it kind of locked me into thinking about him in that way as kind of a progression to where I came to Srila Gurudev. But this morning it kind of struck me that actually the feeling and possibly what Srila Gurudev meant is that by the fire that you were involved in and how you had to make that choice because he chose to go against Srila Gurudev, that actually that was the greatest blessing. Sort of almost like, in a mundane relationship, if your girlfriend cheats on you, simultaneously you're kind of upset, but you're actually kind of glad, and it enables you to kind of move on. So I felt very brokenhearted. I had a very good relationship and close with him, but I was brokenhearted that our relationship had ended like that. And I lamented about that for a long time. But I realized that actually he did me such a great favor and actually really helped me to really understand what Gurudev's teachings were and what real Guru Tattva is all about, which is what Gurudev came to give. And I saw very clearly how he really took Srila Prabhupada's asking him to help his disciples after he had left, and in that way, that we had gone way off course and no one really understood the teachings of Mahaprabhu until Gurudev came. As Prabhu and as Didi was saying, that there was a lot of confusion and a lot of different misconceptions and different ideas of what this has happened. And, after your first, second, third guru, it gets a little confusing. So I'm very grateful to Srila Gurudev. Just one last thing in conclusion. In 2000, he told me, he said, I never gave it some thought at the time because it was a long time ago and I never considered that Gurudev would ever leave. He said, you should prepare for when Guru leaves. He said, because at that time, there is no restriction to our relationship. So in that way, I just want to say in conclusion that we're very fortunate to be in this position, that there is now no restriction in terms of time, space, to develop our relationship with Gurudev and receive his mercy. And I hope that you'll bless me that I can actually become a disciple of our Srila Gurudev. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Racha kalpa tribhascha krita samudeva kapligam padmanabhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
When I first met Sadhu, he was sharing a house with one of the Kogi who I helped bring to the movement, the Guru. And I was amazed at Sadhu's Ankara pictures. They were huge. I want to take this time to maybe to not speak today. There's an unprecedented 7 sannyasis here. So I would like to bow my time out. I want to hear from these sannyasis. One thing I want to say though, a couple of the devotees here today were in Vrindavan in 1999 when our Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Shishkumar Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj received from all the Pandavas in Vrindavan the title Yuga Acharya Hare Krishna.
Followed by Padmanabha Swami
ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनं शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। नारायणं गुरुं वन्दे शरण्यं भक्तबान्धवं गौरमनुविष्टं पूर्णां राधदास्यं प्रदायकं रूपानुगाचार्यवर्यं पतितपावनकरुण्यं युगाचार्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतुसे नमः। श्याम सुंदर शिकंद शेखर स्मेरहासर मुरली मनोहर राधिकर सिकमं कृपानिधे स्वप्रिया चरण किंकरिं कुरु। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वृंदाय तुलाय प्रियाय केशवास च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवत्याय नमो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So first of all, I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Paramaradatam Sri Guru Pada Padmo Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Ashtotara Satasi Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Srila Gurudeva. And to my most worshipable Shiksha and Sannyasa Guru Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Ashtotara Satasi Srimad Srila Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and to all Shirupanvu Gauriya Guru Varga, to all Tridandi Sannyasis, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, to all the assembled devotees here today, my most respectful obeisances. So we are very fortunate to be here today, celebrating Srila Gurudev's Vyas Puja appearance day. So I would like to begin by reading one quote in which I try to somehow to summarize Srila Gurudev's glories and contribution, and from that I will try to develop something more. Srila Gurudev is the ripe fruit of the Rupanuga tree. He is the pinnacle of Mahaprabhu's movement. The deepest knowledge he manifested through his books, the nectar he distributed through what he achieved as an acharya, attracting the hearts of millions and the respect of important political and religious leaders. How he spread the paradigm of Raganuga Bhakti around the world. How he protected the different dhammas and accomplished many other incomparable deeds, established Srila Gurudev's unique position in the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. We are not talking about just one more acharya. We are talking about someone extraordinary, who is the embodiment of Mahaprabhu's Manobhishtam, and in its most complete and vast form. So Srila Gurudev, he is the ripe fruit of the Rupanuga tree. Everything has been prepared from the beginning of creation to this very point, where this Raganuga Bhakti could be widely preached, distributed. And that has come to a very first sprout with our Srimad Avendra Puripad. And then with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, especially Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, Srila Raghunatha Das Goswami. And that has come down to our Bhakti Siddhanta Srila Prabhupada, who has formally established the Gaudiya Mat, means the center from where this Raganuga Bhakti would be preached. And then he sent his most dear and intimate associate, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to the whole world to accomplish and establish this mission, this Gaudiya mission. And after that, our beloved Srila Gurudev, taking his remnants, he has also gone everywhere, taking the level. So we are very fortunate because Srila Gurudev, he is from one side holding the hand of our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyana Kesha Goswami Maharaj, who himself has established the most beautiful and complete form of Godhead, which is Radha Vinoda Vihari Tattva. And from the other side, he's holding the hand of our Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, who is the one who has fulfilled Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Manobhishtam, Mahaprabhu's prophecy, that one day his name would be preached and propagated all over the world. So therefore, Srila Gurudev, he is the ripe fruit of this Rupanuga tree, because Gurudev is taking all this very fertile ground to be able to speak what none of them were able actually to do in such a way, in such open and profound way as Srila Gurudev did. Of course, I'm not going to separate Srila Gurudev from the Guru Parampara. Srila Gurudev was only able to do that because our Guru was everything. But that is his speciality, that is his glories. And history cannot be changed. History only happens once. And those who are able to recognize Srila Gurudev's glories, Srila Gurudev's speciality, they are very fortunate. Because, as I mentioned, Srila Gurudev is not just one more acharya. manifested the second Manobishtam of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is Raga Marga Prachar, means to preach Raganuga Bhakti, Raga Marga. So in this way, I have no words to calculate Gurudev, although I came to him in the last 3 years of his manifested pastimes. It is very less, but nevertheless, it was very intense years, because Srila Gurudev, he was so merciful to accept me in his personal services. So therefore I was able to be in his intimacy for many, many times, till his last moment in his sickness pastimes in Delhi and Vrindavan, Govardhan. So, and I had the opportunity to witness Srila Gurudev in so many special moments. And although he used to be very heavy with brahmacharis, you know, Srila Gurudev's mood, very heavy. There are many stories in Mathura how he used to beat with whatever he was having near to his hands, the brahmacharis. It means danda, umbrellas, shoes, you know, whatever. Otherwise his own hands only. But with me things were different. He was never heavy to me. He was always very, very sweet and very, tolerant. Maybe because I was not able to actually take that chastisement. So I think he knew that my, weakness of being a Western person. Once Srila Gurudev, he was having some Western devotees around him. And then he was talking about how Western devotees are very sensitive, to chastisement and things like that. So he pointed to the Indian brahmacharis and he told, you see, those boys, I can chastise, I can beat, I can kick them. They will never leave me. But you people, if I pinch you a little bit, you're gonna go very far away from me and far away from bhakti. So in this way, Gurudev was very, very sweet with the time. And one time, we were coming after a program, stage program in Canning, Piali, here in West Bengal. And I was following him to his room. And then Madhav Maharaj told me, you stay here with Gurudev, I'm going to do something outside. So Srila Gurudev, he was sitting on his bed and he started to pull out of his pockets a lot of money from the pranamis. And one of my services was to count his money. Sometimes we had mountains of, rupees, especially parikrama time and many things. So I just kneed myself on the ground and put my arms on his bed. And while he was pulling the money, I was trying to, put all the bills together and count. And he was also counting. We were counting together. But I was putting all the bills, upside down in whichever order which was coming. I was just putting them together with the same value. But then I noticed that Srila Gurudev, he was carefully putting all the bills in the same position. Means Gandhi's face must match with the next Gandhi's face. That is like a bank, a standard. So when I noticed that, I noticed that he stopped counting. And then he looked at me. I also stopped counting. When I looked to him, he did like this. And then I closed my eyes. I was waiting for that slap. And a few seconds passed by. I am still with my eyes closed and nothing happened. Then when I opened my eyes, Gurudev was smiling to me like this. I said, Gurudev, beat, please. You can beat me. And he said, not now. Please count properly. I say, anyway, I wasn't fortunate enough to have his slap desirable, by any bona fide disciple. So anyway, in this way we had many few sweet interactions. One time I remember in Mathura, I lived there for 2 years, and as soon as I arrived, Srila Gurudev had his bookstall at the very, near the gate, closed for a long time. So then someone told him, oh, why don't you put this boy to take care of the bookstall? He's an honest boy, he's qualified. And Gurudev looked at me and he said, can you take care of this bookstall? I said, yes, I can try, Gurudev. He said, can you keep all the accounts, everything proper? I said, I can try. Okay, now you should take care of the bookstall. I said, okay. So I went there, everything was messy and dirty and everything. So that was around April, around Ram Navami. So after Ram Navami, Gurudev would leave to the west and come back for Janmashtami. So I had like 3 months in between. So we made everything ready, everything beautiful. We painted, we arranged everything nice. I was distributing books, selling many books, many things. Sometimes going outside, as he also instructed me to go around, Mathura, this Vishram Ghat in Jamuna, and sell his books. So when he returned, I was thinking, I will leave this bookstall open. So as soon as he entered Keshavji Gauriya Math, he would see the bookstall. It was in the morning, early morning, 7-something in the morning. Big Sankirtan, many devotees waiting for Srila Gurudev to come back. As he was passing by the corridor, he was actually unable to look to the bookstall. There was so much things going on. But I thought, oh, it can't be like this. I want Gurudev to see first-hand this bookstall. So as he was passing by, I called Madhav Maharaj and said, Madhav Maharaj, the bookstall. He just, pushed Gurudev like this. He turned Gurudev around, and Gurudev just stopped in front of the bookstall. And it seems that everything stopped around him. The whole world stopped. And he was just looking, with his eyes like this, every detail, everything. And I was in one corner, just standing by, watching him. And as his eyes was going around like this, then his eyes fell on me. And he looked at me for a couple of seconds. And he was holding a rose in his hand that someone gave him on the way. And then he looked at me very deeply with his blue eyes, and he just gave me that rose. I was shaking, I couldn't, understand, believe that. So I took that rose as a gift of his appreciation for that small service. But how Srila Gurudev, he regards his books. He gave his life, to translate, to publish those books. So for him, this is not a small thing. I can't measure how much important for him is his books. But for that, I could understand, because I am so insignificant. I haven't done anything so important, just to make things clean and properly displayed. But he was so happy, and he gave me that rose. And I kept that rose, I laminated that, to preserve for longer, So, okay. How much? No? Okay. Mistake. Okay. So yeah. So in this way, how much Srila Gurudev gave his life to print his books. And he often used to say that, oh, I want my disciples to distribute my books as Srila Swami Maharaj also had his disciples, how he wanted his disciples to do. And how Srila Gurudev also was very much endeavoring for this translation. He developed these spondylitis on his neck, so many things, bad things to his health due to his tireless translations and many things like that. But that was his real contribution. And as we heard before, everyone hears, read his books. From all Gaudiya Maths, all ISKCON, everyone. And everyone has to read his books. Otherwise, they cannot enter in this very, very confidential part of Raganuga Bhakti. So this is one of Srila Gurudev's contribution, speciality. And of course, for myself, it's something very, very difficult to grasp and understand. I'm struggling to really try to be a good disciple and realize, as Srila Gurudev always used to say, try to read and realize what you're reading. But these things takes time, and it's only by His mercy also. So I also remember one time that then I asked you how much time, and you say no, nothing. Okay, it means okay. Okay, then I thought you just by accident you have hit that. Okay. Anyway, so today I beg the mercy of all the present Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis here to bless me so that I can somehow fulfill Srila Gurudev's Manobishtam and be able to be his bona fide disciple, as something that I couldn't, till now be. And but anyway, it's always very fulfilling to meet my God brothers and God sisters. This is actually the way to meet with Srila Gurudev again and again, when we are hearing from senior God brothers and sisters who had actually the real association of Srila Gurudev. So thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Hare Krishna, Vancha Kalpatarubhisha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo.
Jnanatimarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshulimitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I offer my satsang pranams to my beloved masters Nitya-lila Pravishta Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, to Nitya-lila Pravishta Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, to Nitya-lila Pravishta Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and to Nitya-lila Pravishta Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to all our Rupa Nuga Guru Varga, to all the Sannyasigan, Vaishnavis, Hare Krishna. Prabhu, could I have that glass? My throat is very sore. This morning, I went to the mutt in Navadvip, and to my great fortune had darshan of Gurudev. And as we hear from all the devotees, by having a darshan of the Vaishnavas, then everything becomes auspicious. Even though we may not be feeling auspicious, but still, by their mercy, by their compassion, the heart changes. So the quality of Gurudev, we know, we've heard, is the compassion. As Srimati Radhika has so much compassion, whenever somebody is wandering in Braj, even though they may not be so inclined to Srimati Radhika, still Radhika hears them and makes some arrangement for them to come close. So in the same way, Gurudev, he makes arrangements for us so we can actually come closer and closer to him. Those arrangements externally sometimes may be bewildering to us. How is this happening? But still, he arranges it in such a way that we surrender our heart to him. Because he has captured us, like he said, captured our hearts. When I was in Mathura, wanted to pay my obeisances to Gurudev, and Gurudev said, no, it's always too late. It's already too late. We've already captured your heart. So he had his pocket full of hearts, as we know. And so many of us, and we hear from the devotees how we all want to surrender our hearts to Gurudev. We're trying. Even though Gurudev is saying certain things, if we misunderstand his purpose, we'll take those external things and say, this is what it means. But actually, he doesn't mean that at all. So he's saying it's arop siddha bhakti is because if your intention is for name and fame and adoration, then you're missing the whole purpose of the process. Because Jiva Goswami was told by Rupa Goswami to distribute the books. Mahaprabhu traveled and distributed. He brought back what? The Brahma Samhita. And we're hearing how Gurudev gave so much importance to his books. So this point that Gurudev is stressing again and again, that we might even repeat his words, but unless we understand actually what is underneath, and that actually needs to be coming from a place of compassion, in the sense of that harmonizing with Gurudev's mood. And by understanding his mood, then our hearts become aligned with his heart. We become compassionate. And then this process actually can work in our heart. Otherwise, without compassion, it can't actually go in. It gets stuck as an intellectual or some sort of process that I'm following. So the first thing that Gurudev is actually trying to teach us is to soften our heart. And through this, we're then able to understand his words and then actually become closer to our Ishtadev, Srimati Radhika. Because her heart, we know, is so full of compassion. And where does the compassion start often? Is with ourselves. We're often so hard on ourselves. We're so often judging ourselves and negative with ourselves. And this itself is an obstacle. And so as we begin to realize that Gurudev's compassion and love is greater, it has its own power, that even you think, I don't have the adhikar, no matter if you think you have the adhikar or not, the process itself is more powerful. So it is actually our dedication to Gurudev to practice, despite ourselves. And to realize that Gurudev is here, constantly talking to us, communicating to us, encouraging us. And as we pass through these dark nights, we come closer. And this is a manifestation, then really we feel, yes, Gurudev's present in my life. So this aspect of Gurudev we can all relate to and connect to, And again, the point is that we might speak the words of Gurudev, but if the heart hasn't opened and received some of those qualities, then still it will happen. But I'm just saying to be open to the perspective of Gurudev's infinite kindness to us all. So those are some of the reflections I had today in Gurudev's room. Actually, we need to cry to Gurudev. We really need to cry. We need to open our hearts so deeply and just ask him to help us. And in that way, he makes some arrangements. And then feel his love and closeness constantly moving through our life. So it's an honor for me to be here today, to be seen by all of you, because I know by being seen by all of you that Gurudev's mercy is in each one of your hearts. And so actually, me sitting here is Gurudev's mercy, and that you're all seeing me and Gurudev seeing me, all little flowers of that garland, all individual flowers of that one garland. Just as Mahaprabhu, he covered the world with prem, the prem mala. So Gurudev's love is in each one of our hearts. And so what is the most significant also is not criticizing each other. It's the criticism of ourself. How does that feel when we criticize ourselves? But when we criticize each other in small ways, it gives so much pain. We can mistakes, but if we criticize, then we lose the mercy. Ramchandra Puri in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And so ultimately from that our bhakti leaves us. It's not what we're doing in terms of our faults, but actually how we're speaking to each other. And that's what actually connects us to Gurudev, is when we honor each other. He's so pleased that he feels that indebted in one sense. Oh, he's looking after my disciple. He's taking care, let alone others. So this compassion towards each other starts again with compassion towards ourselves. And this not criticizing each other starts with not criticizing ourselves. So these all go hand in hand. So today, maybe we'll all take a vow. That again today we'll make the vow, the commitment. Yes, I'll never criticize myself again or another person. Because that's the beauty, isn't it? Each day brings another opportunity. So we make that commitment today that yes, I'll never again criticize another devotee. As in terms of in malice, this is what I'm talking about. And feel compassion. Gurudev's compassion on us and towards others. So I talked on compassion, feeling the mood of Gurudev's heart and connecting with his mood, and even that we may be following a process, but underneath the process is the purpose. And that purpose is more important. And if we don't soften our heart, we'll do all these things, but the actual purpose will not be fulfilled. Well, it will be, but in some time. Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai.
One time, Gurudev walked into the room and sat down, and he said, "Where's Mula Prakriti? Where is she?" And Mula Prakriti stood up and he said, "You have something for me?" And she began to cry. Gurudev said, "Yes, that's what I want." Now Srila Trivedi Maharaj will speak, followed by Srila Sajjan Maharaj.
Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tarale. Krishnaya Krishna Bhakti Namaha. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jina Shri Gurave Namaha. Priya Sarupe, Daita Sarupe, Prema Sarupe, Sahajavi Rupe, Nijana Rupe, Bhavaveka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swavilasa Rupe. Anapitat Chirim Chirat, Kurunai Varitinokalo, Samarapaitam Unnata Ujjvala Rasam Svabhakti Shriyam. I'm first of all offering my millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again millions of times unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nityalila Pravishta Om Asto Tarasara Shishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And all our divine Rupanuga Guru Vargya, and especially all the exalted Vaishnava and Vaishnava devotees that are here today, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Especially Padmanabha Maharaj, all our Sannyasigan, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. So, I have no idea what to say. I'm just amazed and so grateful to be here, listening to your heart presentations, especially Tapasvi Maharaj spoke so beautifully just now. What more can be said from what you've already expressed? So, as you said, this is the mood of Srila Gurudev. By this collective group today, even a small assembly, but still Gurudev's flames are high. We can warm our hearts again and reignite, if it's not already ignited, our dedication and purpose to serving this mission of Sachinandan Gaura Hari. Our Gurudev has come with such a remarkable gift, as our dear Mahavira Maharaj was relating, this Rag Marg, coming from originally Madhavendra Puri Pad, through Ishvara Puri Pad, through Rupa Goswami Pad, of course Sachinandana Gaura Hari himself. But these truths are so sacred. At the moment in our Jaiva Dharma study, we're studying the 10th chapter, the history. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes how from the very initial moment that Lord Brahma manifests in the world, this is when Vaishnavism began. This is our history. But it took a new potency with the advent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This Raganuga Bhakti is so sacred and so special. Only once in the day, 8,640,000,000 years of Lord Brahma, one day does this opportunity come. And it was 500 years ago that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. And we see, even at that time, that who understood the song that Mahaprabhu was singing at the Rath Yatra. Only one person, practically speaking, two, Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami. No one else understood this, not even Nityananda, not even Advaita Acharya. This Raganuga Bhakti is inconceivable. It's opening up the very heart of the jiva's opportunity to serve this Unnata Ujjvala Ras that Mahaprabhu has come to taste. And it requires more love than we can conceive. As our dear Tapasri Maharaj was just relating, this heart opening to receive initially these conceptions and then to have realization to some degree of these, and they're all completely achintya. It's all beyond this material realm entirely. So when these Mahabhagavats, like all our Guru Vargya, walk amongst us, they demonstrate the identity of those transcendental, like Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He demonstrated to us what it was to be a man from Vaikuntha, or from the spiritual world. And similarly with our Gurudev, just opening our consciousnesses so inconceivably and so methodically and so practically, we can say, I'll say, scientifically. Because from the very beginning, I can remember from 91, 92, coming in Mathura and so on, I had no idea the road that Gurudev was going to carry me on. No idea at all. And just taking us through the Vrindavan Parikramas, for example, again and again and again, every single year, choking on that dust in those buses, going around to all those places. And I didn't know what Gurudev was doing. I didn't understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This was my missing ingredient. I didn't understand the mission of Mahaprabhu. And I can remember clearly the time in 96 in Mawalumba, Australia. Could have been 97, 96 or 97. When Gurudev first spoke this verse, Anapita Chirim Chirat Karunai Bharatinokalo Samadapaitam Unnata Ujjvala, we had our jaws on the ground. I remember it was you and I went to Brisbane to publish the book on sprinkles. And I had never heard this conception of who is Mahaprabhu? What has he come to give? And my Gurudev, he described it so beautifully that it just shook us all. I can remember Shamrani was there, so many senior devotees were there at that time. Gopavrindapal, Budara. And we were just all, why did we never hear of this before? Because actually we had been going through the school of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to actually enter into this school of Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. Going through that school first, we would not have had eligibility to be sitting there hearing those incredible truths at that time. Postgraduate study. And I just want to catch up what Tapasri Maharaj was sharing, that this is a living reality. So he's given this, he gave these teachings, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, he reasons ill who tells that Vaishnavas die when thou art living still in sound. And today especially, appreciating the living reality of my Gurudev here today, his presence. All of you who have spoken have touched on such incredible sentiments and sweetnesses of his heart. Because this, like Tapasri Maharaj is saying, is the very ingredient. There's an expression, form or function. Same thing what you were saying. So what is more important, the actual external form or the internal function within the form? And I loved what our dear Urugai Prabhu was saying about that these teachings have actually gone into so many sanghas, and we may not appreciate it. I appreciate it to some degree, but not sufficiently. I haven't met enough people who have been caught up with Gurudev's teaching, but it's encouraging to appreciate how my Gurudev's teachings were not just insular to one particular sangha or group, but actually through his books, they have spread out all over the world. And so many people who we wouldn't imagine are perhaps hearing his kirtans, perhaps hearing his Harikatha, and coming urgently to this path, this mission of Mahaprabhu. We have a mission. Our mission is to become dedicated to Sachinandan Gaurahari. And what is his mission? His mission is this Rag Mag Bhakti Loke. This is what he's come to taste, and he's come to give this Rag Mag to the world. But I don't believe that it's going to be all across the planet. I do believe that it will just be always a smaller section which others will look up to. Like we have the Christian mystics, etc. You know, the general line, they will look to those people. Or the Sufis in Islam, they will look to those people. So I think that is our purpose. So our responsibility as being disciples and followers of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj is very much on the stage to actually demonstrate externally as well as internally the teachings and moods of how does a Rag Mag Bhakta or a Sadhak act in this world. What does he do? We've heard that even though it was a misinterpretation, I think it was Tabasi Maharaj again was saying about a rope Siddha Bhakti being book distribution. I heard Gurudev say the same thing, but that wasn't what he meant. And he understood that that devotee had taken it out of context. If you're just distributing books, like making a living at it, in this way, this has no potency. But if Guru demands that you distribute these books, then it has all potency. Without the ingredient of Guru's direction, then it has no potency. So I woke up this morning and I was thinking so many different pastimes about Gurudev. It was like they were just tumbling through my mind, one after the other, after the other, after the other. And then it was like, for me, another small miracle happened. It's these small miracles that really ensure our Shraddha in Gurudev. My friend Urugai today, he asked me a very nice question. He said, how do the devotees, how does Krishna interact with people who are not on the transcendental level? Krishna is Satchidananda Vigraha. So Krishna is dealing with so many different personalities in the world, etc. So how is he relating with those people if he never comes into this bodily, earthly consciousness? So then I congratulated him on a good question. And at the time when he wrote it, I wasn't sure of actually how and then I shut the phone off, and immediately Gurudev's face was in front of me, telling me very simply the answer, the beautiful, sublime answer that Gurudev himself has taught us in the assembly, in the 43rd chapter of the 10th canto, in the assembly, watching the Chanura and Mustika in the arena, and how did those 8 different types of people view Krishna, all according to their adhikar. That's how they viewed Krishna. So it wasn't like Krishna was transforming to actually interact with those people's adhikar themselves. But to me, this is the detail of it, but the actual mood of Gurudev's moment by moment utter presence. He reasons ill who tells that Vaishnavas die when thou art living still in sound. The Vaishnavas die to live, and in living try to spread the holy name around. So this mood of the living reality, the living desire to come forward under the shelter of our Guru Vargya and support Sachinandan Gaurahar's mission into the future. Because it has to be done, because one very senior devotee, she was telling us that she'd heard Gurudev say, these teachings are not going to be around for more than 200 or 300 more years. Anandini, did he? She was listening carefully, and Gurudev was saying like that. Because this is they are esoteric teachings, and for the heart to transform and to accept these teachings is like a huge quantum leap for the consciousness, really, when we really come down to it. So there's an urgency here that we have to pick up this mission of Mahaprabhu and to, first of all, as again Tapasvi Maharaj was saying, to purify our own hearts, to be gentle with ourselves, as well as forgiving in the world. Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes that this forgiveness, it comes between the qualities of compassion and humility. If you have humility, it means I am humble. The onus is actually on you. Oh, I am humble. And if we have compassion, the onus is on the object of our compassion. So it's like two extremes, so to speak. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he comments that this forgiveness, which is I forgive, which is the I and the other object, they are both there related. So this forgiveness for ourselves, forgiveness for anyone who we might consider who has been harsh with us, etc. But when I think like that personally, I always think of Gurudev, because unlike many of you, I got so much stick from Gurudev. He ran me through the ringer, really. Because I was living in India, and he seemed to consider that I was, should be with as all the other Indians. And it was very, very tough many times, because I have a contaminated Western heart, which is very sensitive to the false ego. But my Gurudev would always be so immaculately direct, which now in retrospect is the greatest gift that he gave me, to be ruthlessly honest and truthful, to not accept anything less than the extremity of truth, to always have that appreciation. He was never going to flatter us, ever. He never flattered me anyway. Perhaps he may have flattered and patted so many others, but in my personal relationship, it was not like that. Today, and I'm extremely grateful that Gurudev has put me up here in front of you all to speak with you and to honor him more than anything else in my life personally. I've never felt more affection and regard for anyone more than this particular personality, who completely revolutionized my life and my consciousness. And I'm always eternally grateful for his compassion. Krishna Prem was speaking that first glance is when you take initiation. So I'll share with you a very confidential introduction that I had with my Gurudev. My wife at that time, my former wife, she had been interacting with Gurudev more than me. And I went with her to the Mathura Math, and Gurudev was in his room on the second floor, as you've described. And my wife knocked on the door and said, "Oh, I want to introduce you to my husband." I was sitting on a bench about from here to where that wall is, away from Gurudev's door. And Gurudev came to the door and said, no time, no time, no time. Tell him to come back tomorrow. And I was sitting there looking at, I already met him, but I'd never been introduced to him formally. And I was sitting looking at him, and somehow or other, out of my heart, I saw like a vision of Radha and Krishna in a green, like, bower. That's what I saw. And I was looking at this in like wonder, and then I looked up at him, and he was looking at me, and it was apparent that he was seeing the same thing. And he came and he sat right beside me, and then he looked in my eye, and his left eye flicked up, and I was looking inside, and all I could see was the ocean waves. It was just an eye full of sweetness, and it was the blue ocean waves with white caps on them. And this was my first glance. When you were speaking this today, I was just reflecting that that can be, you know, happen to us, that we make that. He was showing me actually that this Aishwarya idea of your holding these mystical things at a high degree is useless. These were the first things that he crushed in me and brought me back to a more grounded understanding. Do you understand what I'm saying? Anyway, I just reflecting that when you were saying that, but I won't speak much more. You're all really qualified personalities and so many anecdotes, etc. And about being hit, I had bruises on this arm from my Gurudev, and I carried them around quite proudly for a while. But that was mercy. But at the same time, now today, of course, it's made a completely cemented relationship, where even if I wanted to sort of stray anywhere, I couldn't. He's like, I have no choice anymore. So thank you very much for listening to my ramble. But I wanted to so much reflect on the reality of Gurudev's presence, the reality today, and will be tomorrow. Not just we say these things and then fold up and go home, but actually sustain Gurudev's gifts of mercy, because today is a special day. I felt from Mangalarti time, Gurudev's presence so strongly. Like, can you remember on his centennial, we were in Delhi, and it was like such a tangible sensation at that time. It was like the whole world actually was celebrating Gurudev's centennial, because they'd done a lot of PR work all around the world. So the whole world was understanding this is the centennial of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. And today, this atmosphere of Gurudev's presence is so acute. It's like you can practice, it's tangible. So we should pray to take advantage of that and to hold those impressions deeply. Whatever our relationships were with Gurudev, make them go closer and sweeter. Because all of us have different relationships in different regards, because we're all such complete individuals, unique individuals. No one has the same. Don't make a group. Gurudev told me directly, don't try and join another institution. Don't make this an institute. He told me directly in the early days, don't try and join another institution. But be yourself in relationship to your Gurudev and your Nishta. As our dear Didi was saying, this Guru Nishta is the backbone. There was never a day when Gurudev didn't mention that. And never a day when he didn't mention Trinadapi Sunichena. Do you remember perhaps the time in Radhakund? He called us all at the Radha Damodar temple as you enter into Radhakund. Our dear Padmanabha Maharaj will remember. And he sat us all down because we were in the Babaji land, right? In Radhakund. And he said, now I'm going to give you all your Siddha Pranali. Maybe you were there also. And he said, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarodapi Suhishana, Amanina Manadena Kirtanya Sarahari. So this is our Siddha Pranali. So if we hold to these qualities, this is going to be our strength in sharing these truths with the world. We need these strengths. in the world, these qualities ultimately are transcendental qualities. We need to develop these transcendental qualities, and then our transcendental self, our soul, will be connected. So I'll stop there. Vansha kalpa tarubhyascha, kripa sindhuvevacha, patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavena namaha. Please forgive me for any offenses I committed to anybody. I'm just appreciating all of your company. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Nitai Gaur Premanandi, all glories is some devotees. Guruve Guru Chandrai Radhikai Tadale Tad Bhaktai Namo Namah. Jnanasmarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurumi Tamjena Taismai Sri Gurve Namah. Drubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vepicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Namashrista Manumapi Sachiputra Matra Suram Rupam Tashugajam Matram Gustava Radhakundam Girivaro Radhikamadavasham Prapto Yashapratika Kripaya Sri Tam Natosmi. Shri Rupa Shri Sanatan Bhattaragana Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasragana Namo Mahavaranaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurtishe Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare. My Dandavat Pranams unlimited times in the lotus feet of my beloved Guru Nitya Leela Parvishta Master Tarasati Shishman Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Maishra Prabhupada, and equal number of Satandra Pranams unlimited in the lotus feet of my Sannyas and Shiksha Guru Maharajas Nitya Leela Parvishta Master Tarasati Shishman Bhaktivedanta Naranga Swami Maharaj, and Nitya Leela Shishman Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj. All of our Rupa Nuga Guru Varga in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's some of the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. Tridandi Sannyasi Gam, Dandavat Pranams. To remember Krishna, never forget Krishna is the base. I forgot the verse, but Smartavya Vishishtam Vishnu, Smartavya. So, and how do we remember Krishna? Through remembering his lotus feet. Transcendental lotus feet marked with so many different. So we've heard from our Guru Varga that lotus foot dust of Krishna is his associates, especially his devotees. This is the foot dust of this. And the foot dust of the pure Vaishnava is all of his followers and disciples. We appreciate and glorify Krishna by glorifying his associates, his dham, his transcendental pastimes. And we glorify the Sudha Vaishnavas. Like today we're glorifying Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. He has said that all of the previous acharyas are manifest within the present acharya. And he exhibited that so much, a complete consensus of all previous acharyas. Vijnanam Navanmed Jeta Karichit Mabhujit Marcha Bhuja Ashuyate Sarvadeva Mahaguru. the Acharya's manifestation of Krishna himself, he has spoken to never disrespect him. He's seen him as an ordinary personality. He is the sum total of all the demigods. So many of us were there and we saw Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj receive the Yuga Acharya Award. So I'm seeing, as I was speaking, the foot dust of that Acharya is his followers and disciples. And in this assembly, as many devotees have spoken, how wonderful it is to hear from the different devotees their explanations of how Gurudev has touched our hearts. And how that goes deep into our heart too, when we see that manifestation in so many personalities' hearts. He completely transformed and changed our lives and brought us to the level, as we spoke, the Varga is spoken by some devotees that Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada came as the Acharya to establish Sambandha Tattva in this world. He gave so much more, but that's what we were able to get at that time. And then Srila Bhaktivedanta, or Bhakti Raksha Sridhar Maharaj, and to some extent Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj gave us that Abhideya Tattva. And how then, as we were growing and becoming more qualified, etc., then the Prayojan Tattva, the ultimate goal, was given by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Prem Prayojan, that highest goal. So in this way, these acharyas are working like a team to mold our hearts in such a way that we can become a beautiful fragrant flower or a beautiful jewel that then they offer to their Ishtadev, Nityananda Mahaprabhu, Radha and Krishna. How fortunate we are to be recipients of that transcendental love and compassion that Tapasvi Maharaj was talking about, that we want to imbibe in our own hearts. And in association with devotees such as today, we are feeling that love and compassion of Gurudev very much enveloping our consciousness and giving us enthusiasm and courage and compassion to continue on this path with more enthusiasm and confidence. So also I was reflecting on the previous speakers of children, or who got the flower from Gurudev. Oh yeah, you got a flower. And some of us got that flower in the form of hits and kicks and slaps, and like myself and Tridani Maharaj, I got some serious slaps. My God, I couldn't believe it. So I'll mix this up with some tattva and some personal. We were in Holland, I think, and Gurudev would travel throughout the world when his transcendental praying-filled festivals. I really miss my Guru Bhai Ram Shara. I'm sorry he's not here. So in one such festival, actually we were in Germany, and we were going the next day on a flight to Holland. So after he would transform the atmosphere of devotees in attendance with this Braj Prem the devotees were speaking about. And that first glance is when he steals our hearts. He sees our hearts. He looks. It said the pure Vaishnava sees the lines on your forehead, and he knows 10,000 births, future and anyway. And he sees our eternal form, and he steals. That is still time of connection. So anyway, I was, as we know, many festivals, the last is very much filled with sorrow, because that festival that was transforming us and uplifting us and taking us to Braj Ras, Gurudev was he was wrapping it up, and he was walking into his quarters, and then the next morning early he would be leaving. So as he entered into his quarters, and I was traveling with him, and I became so overwhelmed by the devotees' feelings of separation that I was shedding tears myself. So he turned at me after the door closed and he said, "Oh, I thought you were coming with me tomorrow." And I said, "I am." Bam! My God! He slapped me so hard. It was just, and you know, we both busted out laughing like anything. He was laughing and I was laughing. Somehow or other, he knew, because he had done it so many times and kicked me so many times and pulled my ears so many times, that he knew that I felt it very sweet, and which it was. So please, if you show me your sweetness, like be like Gurudev and slap me and kick me and, you know, pull my ears. Not just with your words, Maharaj. I want you to physically pounce me. I know you can. Please, all of you, be as sincere as Padmanabha Maharaj and treat me like with your affection. So, Gurudev is transforming the lives of so many different souls, and he is continuing, as we've heard from Gurugai. Okay, now I understand. So he transformed your heart, even though you didn't, even though you weren't in his physical. Continuing to do that to so many souls. Why? Because it's said by our acharyas that the Guru lives eternally in instructions. One time, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, after the departure of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he was with another devotee, a Guru Bhai of his, godbrother, and he said, "Oh Maharaj, how are you feeling after the departure of our Gurudev?" I know I've spoke this many times, but it's such a powerful instruction. How did you feel after the departure of your Gurudev? Departure? I have never felt the departure of my Gurudev. So this instruction, he lives eternally and his followers live with him. How are we to formulate we can feel as devotees are speaking? Many devotees had realizations and different interactions with Gurudev today. How can we continue that every day so that we're feeling that? My Guru Maharaj Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, when he was glorified for his contributions in the whole world, his distribution and publishing of so many different literatures, translation, and giving us Bhaktivedanta purpose, establishing so many temples throughout the whole world, and making Hare Krishna a worldwide word, and you know, what do they call it, a household word? So he was glorified so much for his contributions. And he said, "No, I have not done anything. Everything is because of my Nitya Lila Pravishta Master Tarasati Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. He's always by my side." This is the Acharya and example for us to cry out. Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj said we should open a school, how to cry for Krishna. So we cry out, "Oh Gurudev, how can I feel your presence every day?" By following your instructions, I may feel something. So let me please imbibe those instructions deeply in my heart. Then we are never in separation, or actually in separation we're having union or meeting with our Gurudev. So this is a very wonderful opportunity to be together. We should have more of these festivals. Rupa Goswami is a 3-day festival. So thank you for Sukanta Prabhu. And thank all of you. It's so wonderful to hear the devotees speak. of the transformations and the glories that Gurudev is impressed in their hearts. And I thank you so much, everyone, for this. And Vanchikapatrubhischa Kripasindhubhircha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah. Gurudev, Hey Shri Guru Gyanada Dinabandho Swananda Data Karanaika Sindho Vrindavanasina Hittavatara Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara. So, as Sajan saying nicely that about his being his Gurudev having his tearing his ears or pulling his ears and feeling engaged in experiencing like you can say humiliation or confusion, but after having some such experience like that, then I felt I would feel that this is the real achievement that I've had to be placed in a situation where I feel like just null and void, empty. That by having some such experience, then I feel that I'm actually feeling some advancement in my spiritual life. Or Gurudev, when he sometimes, when I was trying to speak something to, just before trying to give some talk or whatever, which I'm so good at, but I remember one instance of Gurudev, I had my papers, which I prepared, and then all of a sudden, from behind, Gurudev grabbed my papers. He said, "I'll help you." But, so feeling that I have nothing, and I'm totally without anything to hold on to. That having some relationship
which he would bestow upon me some kind of it's a spiritual advancement that I have. I'm actually devoid of any actual benefit, any actual spiritual strength that I would feel that by having everything taken away from me, then I start feeling that no, I have something. I have some kind of spiritual asset that by having everything taken away, then one gains. But it's a great opportunity, as you were saying, that having association means gaining. Having everything taken away from you allows one to gain internally. When I remember Gurudev, when I first came in contact with him, I had just done some work in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, editing with the Tridandi Maharaj. That I'm sorry, just inept bumbling. Ineptitude, if one realizes one has ineptitude, or it's without any strength, and then that at that point one can start to feel that inner strength. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhavye.
Let's do a short kirtan. After 3 hours of speaking, everybody leaves. Radha Madhava. Jai Nitilila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Tadiya Avirbhav Maha Mahotsav Titi Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Shila Gurudev Jagat Guru Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki. So we'll sing Jai Radha Madhava. Why should we sing Jai Radha Madhava? Because Gurudev is in that realm. He's in that realm. He wants to bring us there. Srila Prabhupada always sang Jai Radha Madhava. Why? Because he was in that realm, deeply absorbed. Anybody, you can see the videos of Prabhupada singing in ecstasy. His body is trembling, singing Jai Radha Madhava. And our Gurudev told us, why did he sing Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari? Because he's the most intimate maid servant of Srimati Radhika. That's what he revealed, Gurudev told. So we'll just, to refresh our attention span, we'll sing Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Jana Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Vraja Jana Ranjana Jaya Vraja Jana Ranjana Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Rasa Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Rasa Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Yashoda Jaya Giri Varadhari Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Braja Jana Ranjana Jaya Braja Jana Ranjana Jaya Yashoda Nandana
Jaya Braja Jana Ranjana Jaya Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jai Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Rasa Bihari Jaya Jamuna Tira Banachari Rasa Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Bolo Hare Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna
Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna. Oh Radhe, 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Radhe, 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Oh Radhe, 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe. 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 Oh Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe, Radhe. Oh Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe, Radhe. Kama Mana Mohini Radhe, Radhe. Kama Mana Mohini Radhe, Radhe. Ashta Shaki Shiromani Radhe, Radhe. Ashta Shaki Shiromani Radhe, Radhe. Govinda Nandini Radhe, Radhe. Govinda Nandini Radhe, Radhe. Oh Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, oh Hari Bol, 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 Hari Bol. Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Pada Jaya Prabhupada. Om Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava Jiyo Ki Jai. So, you want to stand up and stretch. You've been sitting for 2-3 hours. If you want, for a few minutes, stand up, stretch your limbs, give relief. Yeah. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namah Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Naste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtachade Satarani Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane. You can all say with me. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Iti Namane Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Audorya Madhurya Gunaishtrayuktam Param Varenyam Purusha Ayanam tam Shirasha Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromancha Shri Krishna Padabja Dritaika Hridi Chaitanya Lilamrita Sarasaram Narayanam tam Satatam Papadye Vrindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Nama Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I offer my unlimited Dandavat Pranams, my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev Nitya Leela Pravishta, Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, who saved the whole world. Then I offer my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable Diksha Gurudevs Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srimad Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Leela Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, whose transcendental appearance day is today. And my Dandavat Pranams to all my Sri Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas, to all the Vaishnavis, and headed by Tridandi Sannyasigan, senior Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. It was very wonderful today to hear all of the glorifications coming from our devotees, who are disciples, many of whom were very fortunate in their life, even from their childhood, to contact this great personality, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, to develop attachment and affection for him, to actually see him as their own Prabhupada, because a lot of the children in Badger, the children of Prabhupada disciples, Srila Prabhupada, to some extent, you know. But when Gurudev came there, to that particular mountain place called Badger, which Gurudev, he didn't pronounce it like we do, Badger. He said like Badger. But then it turned into Braja. Instead of Badger, it turned into Braja.
So Gurudev named that place New Braja. And this was Gurudev's mission, actually. If I were to try to concisely tell the main principle of Gurudev's preaching, it was exactly this: to bring everyone to Vrindavan. Yes. No one else like him did that. Of course, our Srila Prabhupada, he brought us to Vrindavan, he brought us here to Navadvip, and we developed some appreciation of the Dhams. But Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj is a Braj Rasik Vaishnava who lived in the Dham for, at that point, more than 50, 60 years doing. He became the authority. He is the living Braj Mandala Parikrama. He also wrote the books. He also consulted with the other books that had been written by the previous acharyas. And then he compiled his Braj Mandala Parikrama book, which you can all read, translated into Russian language and so many other languages. And Gurudev, in his Western traveling, he would say it in most places at the end of his, 1 week festival of Harikatha and so forth. Then he would address all the devotees and he would say, now we are returning back to our home, Sri Vrindavan Dham, and we want to invite all of you. You should come. You should come to our Braj Mandala Parikrama. You should come to Vrindavan. So Gurudev extended that invitation, and by Krishna's will, Gurudev continued traveling around the world for 15 years. And he continued to invite devotees. So huge throngs of devotees came from all over the world to that Braj Mandal Parikrama and also to this Navadvip Dham Parikrama. So Gurudev wanted not just to bring us physically to Vrindavan. We've been reading Raghavartma Chandrika book. We've been reading in our classes recently by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, which is talking about Raghavartma, meaning the pathway of Rag Bhakti. Gurudev came to bring everyone onto this pathway of Rag Bhakti. But there has to be an education process before that can be done. I was hearing recently how Srila Bhakti Rakshak Maharaj was expressing about our Srila Prabhupada and his preaching when he first came to the West. And he told there that his mood was very overwhelmed in the mood of Nityananda Prabhu. All of the symptoms, the external symptoms showed that. He went to the lowest. He was the personification of Nityananda Shakti. He was the Shakti Avesh, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj told. That's why he could do it. Srila Sridhar Maharaj said it's not possible even for very exalted gurus to do such thing. To do what? To bring the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the entire world. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he used to mention this, that prior to Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj going to the West and then accomplishing all that, a number of us, meaning disciples of Saraswati, senior Vaishnava, we began to wonder that Mahaprabhu has predicted, Pritivite ache jata nagaradi gram, sarvatra prachar hoibe moranam. What does that mean? That means in every single town and village on the surface of the earth, my name will be preached. My message will be preached. Hoibe moranam, he told. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, we saw some effort was there in the 1930s. Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati made some attempt to send preachers, and they certainly accomplished something. but not on a substantial scale. So he said, we began to think, maybe Mahaprabhu's prediction that it will go to every town and village of the world, maybe he was really referring to this land, Bharatvarsha. They began to think like that. Yeah? Yeah, because the Westerners, they didn't take to it. There was attempts and so forth, but they're not accepting. But then Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, then when our esteemed godbrother, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, went and accomplished the unthinkable, he accomplished it. And then he came back to India with his Western disciples and blew everyone's mind. Yeah? Yeah? He blew their minds. They couldn't believe it. 30 Westerners dancing, singing, chanting. You can see videos and many photos of Prabhupada's return to India and going all around India to start his movement in India. Right? He called them my dancing white elephants. And that was their job. Just simply to sing and dance. That was their job, to be with Prabhupada, to do kirtan and dance. And the people were astonished. Yes. And many Prabhupada started his life membership program, established his India. I was in the West at that time. I had just joined the movement when Prabhupada left. That was in August of 1970 that Srila Prabhupada left America after a few years of trying to do, and his movement was successful. It had gone to England, it had gone to Germany, it was successful. Okay, now it's time to transplant it again back into India. And then he went to India with he used to call it our International Sankirtan Party, something like World Sankirtan Party. He used to refer to that, right, Rishabdev Prabhu? He used to mention that. We will have a World Sankirtan Party. And that was it. He brought that party of devotees, at least about 30 devotees, Western devotees. And he restarted the mission. And now what's happening in India? All over India. It's exploding. It doesn't matter whether it's the ISKCON institution, the Gaudiya Math institution, all of these combined together, it's exploding in India. And just take a look about 100 meters from here, in the beautiful horizon, there's a dome. Why a dome? Somebody mentioned to me, why a dome like this? Well, guess what? Prabhupada said, I want a dome. Why? Because this, Mayapur, will be the capital of the world. Do you disbelieve that? You disbelieve that? That this Mayapur Dham will be the capital of the entire world. Not New York, London, this and that. No, Mayapur. Prabhupada predicted is going to be an airport. Where that means they can come from anywhere in the entire world and fly directly to Mayapur. Is this just imagination? Is Prabhupada just fantasizing? No, he sees it. Our Gurudev used to say, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he is Trikalagya. And he's also Satya Sankalpa. Whatever he says, that will come true. So that personality did that. But in his final days, in Vrindavan, in 1977, in October, I came there. I was there for 5 or 6 weeks before he departed. And Srila Prabhupada called to his bedside his intimate bosom friend, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. We have 2 conversations. One of them was recorded. We have the full conversation. Think that we have the actual recording. It may be somewhere. Cliff used to tell us this all the time. Why is he coming to the West? Why is he coming to the whole world? Because Swamiji requested me. He said, I want you will help my disciples. They are sincere. They have made some advancement. Have many more things to learn. The Rasik Vaishnavas know this. It's very clear to them. They can understand who's in which level and so forth, and how many levels that person will have to progress in this life, and what to speak of the next life, and so forth. So Srila Prabhupada wanted that a Rasik Vaishnava, who he knew extremely well, would come on his behalf to help all of his disciples. And Srila Gurudev told us that he hesitated at that time when he was asked that question, because this is a serious matter. When you're next to the Jagat Guru, incarnation of Nityananda Shakti, who just gave the entire movement of Mahaprabhu to the whole world, the books, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He gave the basic, most important foundational books to the whole world. And they had in the millions and multi-millions all throughout the world departed. And Srila Narayan Raj had witnessed many times. He knew all of the older senior devotees. He knew them personally. Because whenever Prabhupada would come to India, he would come visit. Even the very first time that Prabhupada returned to India with only Kirtanananda, and then he became a sannyasi. He came in 1967 because of his health. Srila Narayan Raj was the only person there at the airport to receive him. So their relationship is so top level and intimate. We cannot fully understand that because we're not on that level. But Guru told us so many times how intimate was their relationship. And he is my Siksha Guru and my Priya Bandhu. This is not ordinary. So anyway, Srila Narayan Raj, when Srila Prabhupada requested him, then Srila Narayan Raj said, I hesitated at that time. I hesitated because of such a grave and serious, heavy instruction. But why did he hesitate? Because I saw the leaders, his seniors, who assisted him all through the years in building this movement all throughout the world, and he saw in them that their nishta in Prabhupada, their guru nishta was like a thunderbolt, like strong like a thunderbolt. So he said, how can I help them? He said that. How can I help them? What can I do? Imagine the humility. But then Gurudev said, after a few years, then I understood. Now I understood why he requested me to help his disciples. So many were falling. So Gurudev, Srila Narayan Maharaj, wanted to become the most intimate friend of every single follower of Srila Prabhupada. That was his objective in coming to the West. To help them, to give a helping hand. There are probably a couple of hundred Prabhupada disciples all over the world whose spiritual lives were so much uplifted, even some of them, their spiritual lives completely renovated again by occasion. One time we were in San Francisco on a morning walk just before Gurudev's festival. Not many devotees had arrived yet. And we were walking, and Sripad Bhaktivedanta Nemi Maharaj was there, and he was also filming Gurudev. And we sat down. He sat on a park bench, and we sat in front of him. And Gurudev he said that, the subject matter came up. Nemi Maharaj said, Gurudev, I see that when you are introduced to Srila Prabhupada's disciples, like his personal initiated disciples, as you're traveling around and you meet them for the first time, you seem to become so overjoyed and so enlivened. And then he said, yes, because Swamiji requested me. Imagine, every single time that he would see a Prabhupada disciple, he would become enlivened because Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj requested him. And that was his personal, direct service to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. But Krishna had a bigger plan. Not that only he would come to a few devotees, or not only he would come to personal Prabhupada disciples whose numbers are shrinking day by day, but he would come to the whole world. He is not, as some persons in a particular institution said, he's a village guru. Can you imagine? He's like a village guru. No. He is Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tare Pravartana. Without direct empowerment from Krishna, no one can spread this Krishna consciousness movement throughout the world. Prabhupada would quote that verse all the time. And he was the embodiment of that. But what is the qualification? First of all, that pure devotee is completely, heart and soul, surrendered at the lotus feet of his Gurudev. Guru Parampara. Srila Prabhupada, he proved that. No one can ever doubt what he went through to fulfill the order of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. But the same thing, Srila Narayan Maharaj, old age, it's not easy. Gurudev was just turning 75 years of age when he first started going to the West. Those of us who are oldies, we know what that means. Not an easy thing. And yeah, he had assistants to help him. But did he just become at ease? No, never, not once. He said, I have never taken a vacation in my life. What was Gurudev doing? Working day and night. Just as Srila Prabhupada, with a different schedule, Prabhupada woke up at night and translated his books. But Gurudev every single day also, for hours. What did he give? Because Gurudev knew that the next installment needs to be given. That's why Srila Prabhupada asked him to help, because the next installment was not given. And it's not just a matter of translating a book, and now you have the next installment. No, you have to have a Vraj, Rasik, pure Mahabhagwat, Rasik Vaishnava to explain the book. They're the only ones who can do it. It is a matter of realization. So Srila Prabhupada, it was not a light thing. He knew who is the personality. And did that come to pass? Yes. He gave all the foundational books. I don't even have to name them. You all know them. Jaiva Dharma and all the other books. These are the next installment. These are the books of the Goswamis. These are the books of our Rupanuga Acharyas. Unless someone reads those books, and unless someone understands that, they will not be able to come into the pathway of Rag Marg Bhakti, which is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. Rag Marg Bhakti Loke Korite Pracharan. He came to give Rag Marg Bhakti. To the whole world, to the whole universe, Mahaprabhu came. Right here in Mayapur. This is mind-blowing. You should never become complacent. Any of us that are living should always be completely in this holy land. How is it that where Mahaprabhu himself took birth, where his lotus feet, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaitacharya, Panchatattva, all their hundreds and thousands of Vaishnavas danced and sang all over these 9 islands. This is the topmost place in the universe. Just read the first 2 paragraphs of Jaiva Dharma. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is stating that fact. There is no place to compare. Someone. And I want to say that I love to hear devotees like Urugai Prabhu, who hasn't met personally. He hasn't met personally. So many of us have met personally, and we can recall, we can recollect, and we can relish and taste those kind of moods. But someone who hasn't met personally, can they meet him? This is my question. Can he be met? Can Srila Prabhupada be met? Can Srila Rupa Goswami be met? All of our acharyas can be personally met if we follow them with deep devotion. If we receive their vani, not just ear and out the other ear, do in our life? No. You mold your life completely according to what they have instructed. Then you can say, I'm a kind of a disciple. Does that only refer to those who physically saw him? No, never. This movement, Gurudev said, this is the Danya Kali Yuga. And we already heard that this only comes every 8,640,000,000 years. The day of Brahma. This is not an ordinary Kali Yuga. In the Srimad Bhagavatam it tells, the Yuga 1,000 Yuga cycles. So in a day of Brahma, there's 1,000 Kali Yugas. But only one of them, of those Kali Yugas, does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and give this highest of all gifts that have never been given before even, except by him in a previous kalpa. Never before given. Anarpita charim chirat. Anarpita means it has not been given. But Mahaprabhu came to give it. Samarpaitum unnata ujvalarasam swabhakti shriyam. Very specific what he came to give. He explained this verse for us and the whole world to understand for the next hundreds and thousands of years. And Gurudev said, we hear in the Srimad Bhagavatam how Kali Yuga becomes very degraded, right? All the different symptoms. Gurudev said, no, not this Kali Yuga. Very emphatically he told, this will continue to the end of this Kali Yuga. Then it will transform into Satya Yuga. There will not be that kind of degradation like the Dark Ages and all of that. No. Kalki avatar will not come, he said. Even one of his senior disciples said, but Gurudev, we've read it in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto like this, No, not in this Kali Yuga. So what Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj has given, what our Srila Prabhupada has given, these are the foundational literatures. Prabhupada used to say, these books are for the next 10,000 years. But he was being very conservative, I think. He had some purpose to give a specific number like that. But Gurudev said, no, there's about 420,000 more years in this Kali Yuga. And devotees will be in every single town and village. I think somebody mentioned that that is not stated in Shastra anywhere. So Gurudev, Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, he is the Jagat Guru. And that's not a small thing. There are many people who love to have this title, Jagat Guru, Jagat Guru. This Guru, that Guru, this Yogi, that Swami. No. He's the Jagat Guru, along with his bosom friend, his Siksha Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. They two together have given the full mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That combination of what Prabhupada gave and what Srila Narayan Maharaj gave, and then of course there's so much additional, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar, Bhakti Pramod Puri, so many other great personalities. But these two are the ones that went to the whole world physically for years and years on end, right up to their last breath, and they gave everything that needs to be given. So I say, anyone at any point in time, now and into the future, they can directly meet Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. There is no question that they cannot meet him. How do we know that? Well, all of us, none of us have met Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. None of us have met Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. But have we met them? I think, yes. We have love and affection for them. We have received their teachings. We have appreciated and tried, and we feel so much helped by them. So that means there are gurus. There are gurus. You cannot say you are not a disciple. No, you are a disciple. Siksha disciple is the same. as Diksha disciple. And I just say one more thing, Srila Gurudev himself, he had some exchanges with a number of personal disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He didn't specify what the topic was or argument like that. But Gurudev was not accepting their conception or whatever was their interpretation like this. And he was arguing back to them, you know. And then they said, hey, you should listen to us. We've had personal darshan of Prabhupada Bhakti, so you have not had. And Gurudev said, yes, I have. I have had darshan directly. Not through the eyes, through the ears. I have direct to Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. This is Narayan, he's saying such and such. Yes, correct. You see. So, on these appearance and disappearance days, myself, I like to be in the mood of not just what personal exchanges that I had with these personalities by causeless mercy and good fortune, you know, but I like to project into the future, because it's just starting out now. It's just starting out. And we already hear that devotees everywhere are reading his books and appreciating and discovering him and all of that. And he is the doorway, Srila Narayan Maharaj is the doorway to appreciating all the other Vaishnavas, all the other disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and the other great personalities who we did have a short darshan with while they were present, like Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj, Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj, and others. Gaur Govinda Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Vaman Maharaj, so many, Bhakti Balabhatirtha Maharaj, so many of these divine personalities. Srila Narayan Maharaj has opened up the door so that anyone can associate with them through their Vani, through their teachings, and feel themselves to be showered with causeless mercy by them. So I'm just ending by saying that Srila Narayan Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada, these two, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, these two are definitely the Jagat Gurus, the two of them, not one of them. They're both the Jagat Gurus of this era, of this Kali Yuga, and they will be remembered into the future for hundreds and thousands of years. So this is only the beginning. Some were very fortunate, but one thing, last thing I'll say. Do you know what our acharyas tell? Every single devotee who's on this pathway, as they are progressing, they will meet that level of Vaishnavas directly. Because you cannot gain Krishna Prem without that. And whatever, how many lifetimes are there, Krishna is going to arrange. So we should not think, oh, I'm so fortunate because I had the direct... No, everyone will be fortunate. Everyone will get the association of Maha Bhagavad Uttam Adhikari Vaishnavas. They'll hear from them, they'll associate with them, and then they'll attain what Vijay Kumar attained at the end of the Jaiva Dharma. They'll attain that. That's what they've come to give us. Prabhupada came to give us that. Srila Narayan Maharaj specified. Srila Sridhar Maharaj also told them, yeah, not Krishna. No. That's not, our goal is Radha Dasyam. That's the first place I heard the term, Radha Dasyam. So we're on the path, we're trying to stay on the path, we're trying to progress on this pathway, but we should know that there's no other way out. You're going to have to surrender, all of us, every single one of us is going to have to surrender. Otherwise, who's going to do that? Maya Devi, mercifully, will kick us until we surrender. And then when we surrender, then we can start going proper bhajan kriya, proper anartha nivritti, nashtak prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya. Everything is going to come. It's just around the corner. But Gurudev, okay, this is the last thing I'll say. I'm sorry. Gurudev said, that really encouraged me when I heard him say this. He said, listen, if you just use this current remainder of your life, whatever length of time it may be, but whatever is remaining in your life, if you just utilize this fully, and you fully surrender, he said, you cannot imagine what arrangement Krishna is going to make for you in your next life. Gurudev said, very high sadhu sangha from beginning. But guess what? Krishna is going to give, what's the word? When you get an unexpected present given to you. Anyway, Krishna is going to give something that you really don't even fully deserve. And what is that? Samskaras. You tried in this life. You showed that you wanted this. Maybe you didn't quite yet get those necessary samskaras to go all the way to Bhav Bhakti. But guess what Krishna will do? If you try in this life, he'll give you this special prize that he will award to you samskaras that you didn't really even earn. And you'll begin your life from there. And in that life, you can attain ruchi, asakti, even bhav. So Gurudev would say sometimes, say for you, 2, 3, maybe 4 lifetimes for you, like that. He'd point to different devotees like this. So we're very close, but we should understand that you're going to have to do the work. It's not going to come without the work. It's not going to come without the surrender. So Gurudev has given all the necessary instructions for us. Prabhupada gave everything. We have to absorb that. We have to taste it and relish it and completely immerse ourselves day in, day out, day and night in chanting Krishna Nam and striving that one day we can become Trinada Pisuni Chena. We can chant Shuddha Nam constantly, and then we're on our way. Gaur Premanand. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai, Shri Gurudeva Ki Jai, Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai, Sachinandan Gauri Ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. All glory to the assembled devotees.